Large companies really expect the world to revolve around them, and when it doesn't, they become furious. And over the past couple of days, we've all been talking a lot about Peacemaker Season 2 and some of the story decisions that James Gunn made, but now it looks like Epic is furious, and they've even disabled the Peacemaker dance emote from Fortnite because they didn't pay attention to it in the first place. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I've truly never understood why in a game that is rated T for teen, you are putting in characters that are clearly from adult pieces of media, because if a kid ends up liking the emote or liking the character in their voice lines, they're going to then go and research that character and then watch those pieces of content, and someone like Peacemaker should have never been in Fortnite in the first place, because it's not like he has an E for everyone past. It's not like you could guide that child to a movie or a TV show where they acted normal. He's always been a very edgy adult oriented character, but they decided to put Peacemaker in, give him a dance emote, try to sell him in the marketplace, and now it looks like Epic is furious that the intentions of this dance weren't disclosed to them, or just that people could interpret this dance in a certain way. Now, of course, I've watched Peacemaker, I understand the context behind this dance and kind of the insinuation that is behind some of these moves. You might say to yourself, oh, it doesn't look that, offensive at first, but in a show where there are KKK members and white supremacists and NZs, yeah, you can kind of generally tell, sort of the intention behind this. I personally am not offended by it, and I personally understand why so many other people wouldn't instantly think that when they see this dance move, but it seems that now, as Season 2 has come to a close, and we see the intention behind the dance, Epic is not happy that, I guess, it wasn't disclosed to them in the first place, or really, they didn't do their due diligence, because given the material that was in the first season, this character should have never been in Fortnite, and I definitely don't know why they ever greenlit this in the first place. I think they truly believed that when they picked this character in this dance, they're like, oh my gosh, it's John Cena. He's part of the WWE. He would never be in a piece of media that isn't child friendly. And that, of course, definitely isn't the case. And now that they have disabled it, boy, oh boy, are people roasting them. So they said, we're disabling the peaceful hips emote in Fortnite as we inquire into our partner's creative intentions in this collab emote. Assuming it's not coming back, we'll issue refunds in the next few days. Sorry, folks, which is so fascinating to me, because they, of course, do not want to point out the issue that they have with the show and also with the emote, but there are tons of other people talking about it and calling it out. You're telling me nobody who worked on Peacemaker told Epic about the symbolism behind the dance when they were making it? Either that, or the people at Fortnite who were creating it just saw the show's intro and then decided to copy and paste it, but they didn't actually watch the material. Again, I feel like it's the John Cena effect, where you see John Cena, you assume he's going to be in something family friendly, because that's always been his image up until this point, which is why I personally think it's so odd that they chose someone like him. I don't want to blame an actor for kind of branching out and broadening his horizons, but at the same time, you have a very specific image that, let's be honest, you're not really going to be able to get away from. And of course, people are pointing out other emotes that are in the game that are extremely similar and that have very similar movements, which is just so funny to me, because now, of course, if you do these certain types of hand movements and arm gestures, well, you are NZ coded. Now, I think that it's important to point out, I don't want this removed. You've already put it in the game. There's no point to censor yourself. You were comfortable with it in the first place. You shouldn't be removing it. But at the same time, I completely get the argument that this is a T for teen game, and Peacemaker is a figure that probably shouldn't have made it in the first place. Now, there are other characters in this game that are serial killers, that are from rated R pieces of material, that are rappers who sing about guns and drugs. But it seems that Epic has been okay when they've made money off of it. Maybe this emote just wasn't making that much money, so they said, no, we need to pull the trigger on this. We need to pull it from our storefront because there's no point to have a controversy surrounding us and us making no profit from it. And it's not like we're ever going to know, but I highly doubt that they're going to bring this back. What I personally find so funny here is the fact that most people do not care. It's like me. I genuinely don't care if this emote is in Fortnite. It's not that big of a deal. But at the same time, you put it in the game, and therefore you should probably stand by it because you were comfortable up until this point. I think that with the ending of season 2 and all of the clips and images that have gone viral over the past couple of days, somebody in the office was like, whoa, wait, that's the character that's in our game. That's the emote that we're putting in the game, which is just so hilarious. And of course, it's not like his arms actually make the full swastika shape, but you can tell what they were insinuating here. Fortnite emote dev team, after watching the Peacemaker episode this week, and it's them just staring blankly at the camera, Agent Hitler FBI. Now they can replace it with the season 1 dance instead. I don't think that, again, it's really that big of a deal. It's just a dance emote. But at the same time, I love seeing companies get completely and utterly wrecked. If we were still living in the days of the Xbox Live game chat, this would be such a non-issue. And I know we always meme about it and we always talk about it, but if people were not so sensitive on the internet now, this would have just been a big, hilarious meme, and there would have been people calling Epic Games based. But because we have groups out there who will complain about every little thing and say, oh my gosh, we need to ban this piece of content, we need to remove this piece of content because it's offensive to somebody, yeah, we can't have an emote like this in a game at this point. Now, I personally don't care about Peacemaker or Fortnite or Epic being mad, but I love to see a company being embarrassed because that's what's happening right now. There are also tons of people pointing out how Kanye is still in the game, David is still in the game, but this one isn't okay, which is just so hilarious. There's also people pointing out the fact that they've put serial killers in this, they've put rated R characters in this, but this emote is just too much. This is kind of funny to me because they keep doing all these collabs with everyone and they stopped completely at doing community skins because a certain someone. Sometimes I love seeing Epic taking L's like this one. Doing this because of the lore is kind of fair, but why has the David stuff not had the same treatment? And this is the problem that they now face. They started sanitizing their game. They started removing content. So now there's going to be a slew of people saying, don't be hypocrites. Remove other content from controversial figures. And they are now going to face a major problem where there are going to be people who are sensitive snowflakes saying, I'm offended by the rest of this content and now you have to cave to my demands. So I will definitely be keeping my eye on this situation. I honestly think that it's so funny that somebody didn't do their due diligence because Peacemaker has never been a subtle show. I mean, the first season again had the KKK, it had NZ salutes. It very clearly had intentional and heavy and direct messaging, but they still greenlit this collab knowing that. But this is apparently where they draw the line, which is just so funny. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this and found it important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.